You someone looking to live a happier and healthier life, but don't know where to start? Today, we are starting with breathing. How to breathe optimally, where to start, and how to improve over time. Let me start with my personal journey with this. When I was young, I was diagnosed with childhood asthma. And looking back, I'm not really convinced that I just wasn't overweight and deconditioned. My asthma would mostly crop up due to exercise. My elementary soccer team, I'm running a sprint and I start wheezing, right? And I don't think, looking back, that necessarily that was a true diagnosis, as later in life, I outgrew the asthma. And, potentially doctors on the channel, anyone with a medical background, please comment if you can actually outgrow your asthma. I don't know if that's real or not, but leave a comment if I'm wrong. Happy to be corrected. Meanwhile, when I became a teenager, the more conditioned I got, the better I got at athletics, the less frequent I would have these asthma attacks. And I can remember when I was in elementary school, frequently getting bronchitis and needing to use the albuterol face mask. Fast forward, after college, after I'm in my job a few years, I find myself incredibly overweight. I was over 300 pounds and, I'd go down to tie my shoes and I'd get out of breath from tying my shoes. Or I'd go for a walk around the block and I could hear that wheeze. My wife was constantly complaining about my snoring, compounding effects there, being overweight, living a sedentary lifestyle, constantly in a state of anxiety and stress. I was working on Wall Street at the time. I'm sure I developed the terrible habits of vertically breathing through my mouth exclusively, and therefore causing all these things to happen. As I started walking, I started breathing better. I noticed the wheezing going away. I noticed, just all these different things happening. After I read Breath by James Nestor, I understood, okay, I'm breathing wrong. I'm breathing incorrectly. And that was kind of my introduction to, hey, there's a better way to breathe. And the more I learned about my own breath, I later read Breathing for Warriors. It's a great book. There's tons of exercises, diagrams in there. And Bas Rutten makes a surprise guest appearance. You learn that not only is breathing something you can improve over time, but it's also something you can measure. So introducing the ideas of a breath IQ, that was really awesome. Understanding that your diaphragm is a big muscle that can be trained, that was another breakthrough for me. And then seeing how people programmed this improvement into a training plan. It's important to know how to breathe. You can get a lot of benefits from it. In another video, we'll talk about HRV and how breathing is connected with HRV. I like to call it the resilience rate. How resilient you can be is intimately linked to how you breathe. Even handling stressful situations. When you start noticing you're in a stressful situation, take a moment, be kind to yourself, acknowledge that you're vertically breathing through your mouth potentially, and correct it. Take that second, start breathing through your nose, start horizontally breathing, and you'll notice you can handle more stressful situations over time with a better, calmer internal state. So, I hope these techniques help you guys. People tell me all the time, what do you mean I don't know how to breathe? Let's do an exercise right now. You can pause the video, don't cheat on this. Basically, I want you to test yourself. All right, so the test is gonna be, let's inhale and exhale. You can choose your own timing on this. There's no right or wrong answer. We're just seeing where you are. All right, so pause the video, do an inhale, do an exhale, and pay attention to where you're inhaling and exhaling from. All right, now that you're back, let's talk about it. Where did you notice your inhale and exhale coming from? Are you inhaling and exhaling like this? Do your shoulders rise with your inhale? And do your shoulders lower with your exhale? If they do, I don't want to say it's wrong. I just want to say it's not optimal. A lot of people breathe through their neck and through their chest. You go to the doctor and you breathe in and you're breathing through your chest. Right? That's not the most optimal way for you to breathe. The most optimal way is for you to breathe horizontally. So we're gonna put our hands right here on our belly, and I'm gonna do a front angle and then I'll do a side angle just so you guys can see. So here we go. We're gonna breathe in, and this is the most optimal way to breathe. So we're gonna think about horizontally breathing from our center of mass. And this might be difficult for you to get at first, but just watch a few times. I'll do some side angles, and then we'll go to the ground and I'll show you from there. So here we go. All right, we'll go ahead and do it from the side here. All right, so hopefully that was a good demonstration for you guys to understand that I'm breathing in 3 dimensions. So I'm breathing this way, both into my front and my back. I'm breathing sideways into my sides. So you can kind of see that I'm not breathing vertically. I'm not understanding what it looks like, what it feels like. I definitely recommend trying it yourself. And then we'll go to the ground here so you can see a better demonstration and we can ensure good posture. Another thing people struggle with is tensing and tightening. All right, so one of the reasons a lot of people end up in that vertical breathing pattern is because they're so tensed up, they're constantly sucking in their gut and they're not standing correctly, so therefore they can't breathe correctly. So if you're one of those people that suffer from anterior pelvic tilt, you're tensing in your abs, you got tension in your back, in your neck, you know, there's a bunch of places to hold tension. We'll show you how you can start on the ground and kind of eliminate those barriers right away. Guys, so we're on the ground here. I recommend using a wall, something that you can prop your feet up on, preferably in a squat type position like this. And what this is going to ensure is that your torso and your pelvis are stacked on top of each other and your back is flat against the ground. So I can't fit my hand in there. All right, and that's important. So another way, if you still have the rounding, is lean your head forward a little bit. But we really want to get you in the position where there's no hand that can fit underneath and that you're able to be comfortable in this position. The purpose of this is for you to locate your diaphragm, understand how the muscle works, and then over time, you don't need to go back to this position. If you're, intermediate to advanced, this is the position you want to do your box breathing in. All right. But just for the beginner demonstration, we're going to put our hands on our belly. You can put them up on your ribs too if you prefer that. We want to be feeling that horizontal breath as we continue to breathe. So I'm going to put my hands here. I'm going to go ahead and just breathe out everything. I'm making sure my torso and pelvis are aligned, my back is straight, my spine is straight, my neck is aligned with my spine, and we'll do a few breaths here and you can watch me. So we'll go ahead and breathe out. On the exhale, we want to think about bringing the belly button to the spine. And then on the inhale, we want to think about expanding our back into the ground beneath us as the belly rises as well. Walk you through how to box breathe, and then you can practice that as sort of your beginner exercise. So basically, when you're box breathing, and you can do it sitting, you can do it lying down, I recommend for beginners to lie down because you're going to be able to feel the physical feedback of the ground as you're inhaling through your back. And I know that sounds crazy to you right now, but over time, you're going to understand what I'm talking about. So basically, the key here for box breathing is we want to think of our breathing as a box. There's also triangle breathing, so I'll briefly go into that just so you can understand what these modes are and how to use them. So if we think about our breathing, when you inhale, you hold, you exhale, you hold, you inhale again. That's where the name box breathing comes from. And the purpose of this is over time, this box breathing technique can relax your nervous system. It can do a lot of things for your body, specifically after a strength training workout. When you're going intense, you're going hard, and you feel very fatigued at the end of the workout, the best thing you can do, put your feet up on the wall, get in the laying position, and practice your box breathing. Start with 1 second, 1 second inhale, 1 second hold, 1 second exhale, 1 second hold. And we want to increase that till you get to 4 to 5 seconds around the entire box. Triangle breathing is similar, except you only hold on the exhale. So you inhale, exhale, hold, and then inhale again. For the last exercise today, again, this is a beginner's exercise. We'll go into more advanced techniques. We'll talk about HRV and other breath work in future videos. But for right now, we're going to talk about the bellows breath. At least the modification of the bellows breath that's going to work most effectively for beginners. So find a wall you can sit, you can lie down in the same position. I recommend, if you're a beginner, to lay down, as we had shown in a previous exercise. And the goal of the bellows breath is for you to inhale maximally and then exhale, and make the exhale as slow as possible. There's a lot of benefits to this. You can lower your heart rate, you can synchronize your body, There's a lot of reasons to practice this, but one of them is just for you to get used to the effect of inhaling and exhaling slowly. For the bellows breath, I'm going to put a few things up for different levels. We're going to just start with the beginning level here. So we're going to inhale and then exhale as slowly as we can. For right now, we're going to inhale and then we're going to try to exhale over 15 seconds. So let me get myself ready. All right, so basically the idea here is when we inhale, we want to inhale as wide as possible. And the trick is exhale as narrow as possible. And what I mean by that is exhale as if you were breathing out of a straw. And that's one way that you can go ahead and teach yourself that it's okay to slowly exhale. One thing a lot of people struggle with in the beginning, especially if you're a larger guy like me, I weigh 260 pounds, is even if you're muscular, you're overweight from a sedentary lifestyle, both types of people, both big people will struggle with the same thing, and that's completely exhaling your lungs. That's going to be the hardest part for you. So just accept that on the front end if you're a bigger girl or guy, and understand that it's something that you can get better at. So it doesn't mean that you're never going to be able to pick this up. Just keep practicing and you'll find that you'll improve over time. So for the bellows breath, we're going to start with one inhale followed by a 15-second exhale, and we'll do 2 sets in 1 minute. That's the first beginner goal that you'll want to go for. Over time, we'll increase that exhale to 25 seconds and then 45 seconds. And you'll see major improvement in this capability over time. And it's just a good place to start for a beginner. I hope these techniques help you guys and you learn something from it that you can apply today. And that over time, you're moving towards a happier and healthier life, not only for yourself, but for the loved ones around you. A happier and healthier life means more adventures, more memories, and more possibilities. You know, that's the main goal of this channel. That's the main goal of longevity training for me and my training philosophy behind that with my clients. You know, I love seeing someone improve over time and achieve the things they never thought were achievable before, whether that's walking up a flight of steps or sleeping without snoring. You know, little by little, you're becoming happier and healthier by choosing to do these things. We're starting with breathing today. We'll talk about walking. Thanks so much for tuning in. Subscribe, like, leave a comment. I love to interact with you one-on-one, help you get to that next stage you're trying to get to. As always, yours in endurance,